And welcome, Rooster Boosters, to Rooster Booster Time. I'm the big guy, Scott Farrar. That's Mike the Grand Pod Parazzini. And today we have one of the newly minted Roosters, got his first cap with us this weekend up in Toronto. Antonio Kiri Kiri, welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me, guys.
Absolutely. And really quick, this is, again, as all of our stats come from, they come from djcallrugby.com. Our buddy Dougie gives us some stats. So 30-year-old flanker, 6'2", 230 pounds. I don't know how true that is. If he's in game shape, if he's hitting that 230 pounds, but recently coming from the Cornish Pirates, where he had 36 appearances. Prior to that, we're talking Leeds Tykes, Yorkshire Carnegie, the Blues, Auckland Blues in 2018, the Turbos between 2012 and 2018, and also playing for the All Black Sevens in 4 World Series stops in Cape Town and Singapore and Dubai. Guy with a wealth of rugby experience here. And I think every time I give somebody CV, Mike, I don't know how you feel, but I feel like inadequate as far as a rugby player.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very intimidating just to
looking at ages and then, where they played.
I played D4 at Randall's Island. How fun was that? Dodging manhole covers and gravel. And he's over in the UK playing for the Cornish Pirates for the past 4 years. So, I feel great about myself. But anyway, like to make fun of ourselves and our rugby experience. But it's great to have you. We appreciate you coming on. And honestly, you made your debut against Toronto this past week. And that was a win for us. That was a win we needed. We were up in the standings prior to the match by 7 points. But, Toronto's nipping at our heels. And honestly, the match prior where Toronto came down to Hoboken, man, was a stunner. They kind of punched us in the mouth. I think they had 12 guys on injured reserve at that time, and they kind of stunned us. But we do what we did best, right? We kind of opened up with a couple quick scores using the open field. KT making some insane hits, man. I mean, it's the highlight reel on KT this season of hitting a guy and the guy, prying loose the ball it's got to be up there. It has at least 7 or 8 times in the past couple weeks. We got the win. It was a bonus point. We've kind of jumped ATL in the standings here. Utah did us a little bit of a favor. I got to be honest. I don't know about you, Mike. I'm sure Antonio not as familiar with the MLR right now, but Utah is always good for one of those matches where they're going to put up a lot of points, and it's very hard for an East Coast team to come in and play at Zion Bank Stadium. We talk about that mile high type atmosphere, and it's either you got to get in and get out, or you got to be there and acclimate yourself. And throughout the history of the MLR the past 5 years, it's tough to go from the Eastern Conference and go to Utah and win. So I don't think it's indicative of how ATL can play. I just think, Utah showed up and ATL got a tough one. What do you think, Mike?
I was going to say, for us at least, our game this past weekend mirrored last year, and our season in comparative to Toronto mirrored last year, where we had a lackluster first game at home where we ended up losing, and then going to Toronto. Last year was Atlanta, this year Toronto, going and slamming them hard and making a very dominant win. I act like you said, yes. Also, it is not indicative. This is of Atlanta and Atlanta and how they played it at Utah. It's a hard place to play in. Utah is still a strong team that's still in the hunt. So it was going to be a nail biter. It was going to be a tough fight either way for Atlanta, and they're not out of it either. So they're
absolutely It's going to be a dogfight between second and third place. I'm just happy we kind of have a little bit more of a gap between third and fourth place. So, but anyway, let's talk individually about the match. And I gotta be honest, Andrew Coe is a goddamn savage. Dude comes off of an HIA and makes a big hit using his face. It was awesome. Andrew, like Antonio, really sevens guys, right? And they're coming in and making big hits like that it was, again, that was another one I think was a top 5 hit this week. But reckless disabandon for whatever he was going on mentally with his HIA. It was great to see. I can only imagine, he's been out for about a month now with that head injury. And I know you have to go through your protocol and you have to, do some contact drills, and there's all these steps you have to get there to feel, until they give you the okay, but still mentally it has to be tough. Antonio, have you ever had that where you've had an injury and then had to come back after a month or so and be like, I think I can go, but I really need to test it?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I've actually never had any sort of head injuries,
Mm.
so to speak, and touch wood. But no, a couple of years ago, well, 2018, I had some issues with my neck, and then it turns out that I had some nerve impingement in my C3, 4, and C4, 5 vertebrae.
Mhm.
So the surgeon had to go in and you know
Yeah.
cut the hole open a little bit.
Yeah, they bore out the hole so that way
Yeah,
it's not in pain. Yeah.
and then so I pretty much lost. I almost lost the use of my left arm.
Mhm.
I couldn't even hold a glass of water without shaking and struggling. So basically, I had that done, and then trying to climb back from that was pretty tough. I couldn't, like I said, I could hardly hold a glass of water,
Mhm.
and then to be able to get back strong enough to lift weights, and then to play, and then to have the confidence to play with it. It took me about. It actually took a lot quicker than I thought. It took me 12 weeks, and I was back on the
Wow.
field. But there was a time there where I was training so hard to try and get the strength back, and nothing would work. And then one day it just sort of
You just popped. Yeah.
and then I started getting gradual progress and kicked on from there. So yeah, I've dealt with that sort of stuff before, and it's not easy, but you can always get through it.
Yeah, I'm always reminded American football. Tony Saragusa is a famous defensive tackle. He gets hit on a play and he can't get up. He's kind of paralyzed.
Oh man.
Doesn't know what to do. They stretcher him off the field. Goes back in the locker room. Halftime, he gets the feeling back in his hands. He gets, his feet are moving. They're testing him. They're like, okay, we just happened to, kind of hit you at the right try. And he said, if I didn't go back out on the field in the second half, I probably would have quit football at the time. And this is like right in the middle of his career. And he's like,
wow.
I went out there and I did what I had to do. And he goes, there was no, knock on wood, no lasting damage, anything like that. But, he had that mental block at the time to say, man, should I really be doing this? So I know it's tough.
Yeah.
Dougie Coyle chiming in, liking your flick pass that led to Brendan O'Connor's try. Hey, and listen, that's what we like to see out of our loose forwards. Our loose forwards score a lot. I know Eddie is Mr. Try Scorer or whatever, but between Kara, between Brendan, between Ben Bonasso, Pago when he was healthy, our loose forwards were scoring tries. So I assume Antonio is going to be part of that try scoring group there. I mean, we kind of kill him in the open field, and Antonio being a sevens guy, I'm sure he's going to be out on that wing and support. And one of these days, it's just going to be a 2-on-1. And then he's just going to give him a little flick, and boom, he's going to be gone, baby. That's what I love to see.
Yeah, I mean, you got Carter Pryor, who's as fast as most of the backs, and then you got Brendan O'Connor, who I think is, in my opinion, I've watched the last 5 or 6 games. I think he's one of the best players in the league. So yeah, he's an exciting back row, and then Benjamin Bonasso as well. He's a bit more physical. He gets stuck into the grunt work. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting stuck into it, and I hope I can live up to the platform that those guys have set for us.
I have no doubt you will, just by the little match time you had this week, because you got right into it, and it wasn't anything fancy. It was just, let's play rugby. You didn't think about it, you just did it. And I think that's half the battle when you're coming to a new team. Is not necessarily thinking about all the little things you need to do, but just saying, hey, naturally, this is what's going to happen. This is what I need to do and execute. And listen, that helped us with a win. Like I said, bonus point win. So now we have 12 points separating us in Toronto, 1 point separating us in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So let's get into the most important part of the show. Interviewing Antonio here. We're going to ask him some really hard questions. Now, the problem is Antonio's only been here for like a week and a half. So some of these questions might be a little hard for him to answer. So the first question I'm going to ask is, who has the best hair on the team?
Oh, the best hair. That's tough. I'm trying to think. It's not Andy Ellis. I might have to go with my fellow loose forward, Carter Pryor.
Kara has a really nice head of hair.
Yeah.
Charlie Hewitt always says he has good hair, but I think he just has more of a big head than he has good hair.
Yeah, exactly. And
Ben had great hair. He had a mullet earlier this season, decided to kind of shave it. Don't really know why. It looked really good. But yeah, no, Kara has a great set of hair. And when he's flying and that hair is like moving, man, it's friggin'.
His hair used to be down to his shoulder. The last time I saw him 4 years ago.
Really?
He had long hair down here. And
like his brother. His brother has the dreadlocks over in San Diego and the big, his brother has really nice hair too. It must be a family trait.
No, he's got the nicest hair, I think.
So how have you acclimated so far to like the New York, New Jersey lifestyle?
Oh, I'm loving it. I haven't quite settled in yet. Like I said, I'm living in a hotel for the meantime. Hopefully in the next few days we have an apartment sorted for myself and Nehe. So beyond that, I'm enjoying it. I've been into the city a few times. Just go and have a look around, go out for dinner and food and just to see stuff. I'm enjoying it, mate, and I'm excited about the rest of my time here.
We're excited too, and you actually teed up a good question from our buddy Doug Coyle, which you haven't had much time, but I'm gonna throw it up there. Have you found a restaurant that makes Italian cuisine like your mother makes?
No, I haven't yet. Actually, my mum makes a lovely Italian food, but it's actually my nonna and my nonno that they were the chefs. I grew up around restaurants. They owned restaurants when I was a kid, so
nice.
I was always getting free access to the to the special dishes. I haven't been into Little Italy yet, and I'm looking forward to going into there. But I love Italian food, and
I'm gonna send you a list, bro. I got a list in Jersey. I got a list in Manhattan. I got a list in the Broad. Trust me, and I'm sure Andrew Coe's a foodie. I'm sure he has Italian spots for you. For those of you that don't know, Antonio actually New Zealand and Italian passport holder. So who knows? Italy in the next World Cup, maybe they'll call him up all of a sudden. You never know.
Yeah, there's a few hoops I have to jump through because I've already qualified for the
that's true. Yeah,
Black Sevens, but there's ways around it, I'm sure. And
Italy with the new laws, with the new transfer laws, where it's 3 years after you played for a certain team. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah,
I'm emergency call up.
I'm dead keen to do it. I'd love to represent, my mother's country.
Kieran Crowley's a Kiwi. We could there's got to be something in there. Yeah, we can make it happen.
We'll make it a social media event, and we'll get a groundswell of people.
Get a bit of a following and make it too big for him to ignore.
Exactly. Listen, I got a big friggin' mouth. I'm sure he can hear me all the way over in Italy. But so my next question was actually going to be a part of your transition here. We had talked about a little bit off camera. Is that a whole bunch of guys on the team already, and you know guys through other guys and stuff like that. So tell us about some of the relationships you already have with some of the guys on the team.
Yeah, so the big one is, and he's actually how I got here, is Jason Emery. Mm-hmm. He was a couple of years younger than me at school, and I was a senior, and he was one of the young boys coming through, and we played together at school, and then we both went on to play for 102 Turbos together. So we played a lot together. He's been a really good friend of mine. Actually, the last time I saw him was at his wedding before I got to New York. Yeah, so was it 2019? And that was the last time I saw him. And like I said, I got here through him. I messaged him and I just said, "How's it going over there? It looks fun." And he goes, "Oh, would you consider coming over?" And I said, "Absolutely." And he put me forward to Rick and Marty Veal, and then we kind of made it happen. So I've got him to thank for, and he actually asked for 10% once I get here. So
he wants that agent fee. Listen, no license, no agent fee. I'm just telling you right now, license.
Didn't put it in paper.
That's great. I think a lot of people have been, me and Mike and me and a bunch of other people talk about like why guys are coming over, right? Yeah. And I think it's a couple things. It's one, obviously the rugby is up to a certain level that you guys want to play at. Secondly, I think you guys see what's going on social media wise, and you see, who's in Manhattan or who's in LA or who's in New Orleans or who's in Boston, and you say, why not? Why not come to the States, play a little rugby, experience the country, because it's not, it's not hurting you. You're playing a sport you love, and you can take in things that you might not have been able to take in previously. And I think that's a big draw that a lot of people don't realize that's part of the MLR.
Absolutely. Yeah. I almost had an opportunity to come over a few years ago with Glendale Raptors. Yeah. But I decided to go to the UK because their league was a bit more established, and I had ambitions to go on and play top level rugby there. But that I had a few speed bumps, if you like, in the UK with club finances and cut.
It's typical. Yeah, I mean, it's typical. I think it's typical rugby anywhere.
Yeah.
The even the higher level sometimes on the professional level is hard to get to, and so many guys are vying for the position. But hey, you got to take the path you have to take to play your rugby. And I think coming here right now I'm happy as a fan that you came to New York. I'll put it that way. Just saying right now.
I'm happy to be here, and obviously, I mean, the rugby's at the standard now. It's at a really good standard, and it's only going to get better. And I mean, the biggest draw card is the New York City. I mean, I never imagined in my lifetime that I would get to come here and play rugby and get paid to do it. So as soon as I got the opportunity, I jumped at it, and here I am. And I really want to stay here long term, or as long as I can, and just kind of make the most of it.
Absolutely, and our girl Jazz Rivera. Check out Jazz this weekend at the merch tent with the matchup against Seattle. And real quick, our buddy Jason Zimmerman said it before. Our buddy Matt Cartwright out of Seattle, him and a bunch of Seattle fans are coming. They're very excited to come and hang out and meet with us. And we're going to do a ball swap. I got a bunch of the guys to sign a ball recently, and Matt had a bunch of the Seattle guys sign a ball, and we're going to try and do a nice ball swap prior. This is what the MLR is all about. This is what the fan groups are about.
Yeah,
it's mutual respect. It's having fun at the matches. It's sharing the cultures. Gotta love it. Mikey, what's your next question for him?
I was gonna say, how has the club atmosphere been? We've talked to a few other New Zealanders where there's like this mix of New Zealand rugby, and also they've been trying to do the steel worker mentality. Has that has the club atmosphere come through so far for you, and the mission kind of statement?
Yeah, well, I mean, in terms of the atmosphere and the environment, it's a very welcoming and friendly place. And I walked my first step in that door, and I felt like I was at home, and everyone made me feel that way. And then in terms of the their kind of their mantra that they base their whole philosophy on, the steel worker kind of thing, and the history of New York City, and building the skyline kind of thing. I haven't gotten completely into that yet, but I was asking a question yesterday I was in the gym with Dylan Fawcett, and I just asked him a little bit about it. He goes, "Oh man, have we overlooked that? Have we not shown you yet?" And I was like, "No, but I've been noticing all these little themes coming through, and what's it all about?" And so he explained it to me, and I mean, that just shows there's a deeper meaning behind what we're doing. There's a there's a rich history here, and we're trying to buy into it. And the fact that we come from all over the world, like they did back in the day, it makes me feel like I'm not just a New Zealander in New York now. I can be a New Yorker.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
So I got a follow-up question to that. So you're not a real New Yorker, and you're not a real Rooney Rooster until Butcher curses at you. Has Dylan Fawcett cursed at you yet?
No, I haven't. I haven't had the opportunity of that.
Watch out! Somebody's going to slip a tackle at practice, and he's going to get on you, and then you'll be like, "Oh, now I'm really part of the team."
I hope I can avoid that, but you know what? If it comes, it comes.
Oh man! So one of the things I know that they do at practice, and usually Quinn Nawadi's on the horn with it. He has the radio. So if you could pick one song that you wanted to be played at practice, what song would it be?
Ooh, one song. Maybe UB40. Maybe Tomorrow.
Wow!
Yeah,
did not think that was going to be. Out of all everybody, okay, UB40. I'll take it, baby.
That's just off the top of my head. That's my
red wine,
song.
baby. Come on,
that's my feel good song.
All right, now I got a real tough question for you two. It's a two-parter.
Okay.
High socks or low socks, then plain cleats or flashy cleats?
Sorry, was that plain cleats or flashy cleats?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm high socks till I die. You couldn't pay me to wear my socks up. I don't know. I feel a bit, I look a little bit nerdy with my socks up, so I keep them down. I always have, always will. And at the moment, I have flashy cleats, but I'm not opposed to having plain ones as well. It's just whatever fits me in the store.
Oh, that's great. I mean, I feel like a lot of loose forwards have flashy cleats because they're like, oh, you can't see my face really. I'm on those angles. So if my feet are bright, somebody will notice me. No, I'm messing around. But yeah, I've always been a tall sock guy. I don't know. That's how we rolled. Don't know why. Kind of depends on like the generation and where you're at. But it's always a fun question. So the next one is going to be this might be a little tough for you because you've only worn one so far. What's your favorite New York kit out of the four they have? So they have their white away, their blue away, then they have the blue with the collar and the hoops, and then they have the black on black neighborhood jersey.
Well, I haven't seen the neighborhood jersey, but I've got to say I quite like the white one.
I like the white one too. I think it's class. I think it has the outline of the Statue of Liberty of just the crown. I think it's really cool. Like not having the whole Statue of Liberty is a little,
Although like just on the weekend I was because we had 6 forwards on the bench instead of the normal 5, so I ended up wearing the reserve halfback jersey. So it was a little bit tight and a little bit.
I was gonna say, did it come past your belly button or was it like high?
Yeah, so I do like that jersey, but maybe in a bigger size next time.
Listen, I complain about that all the time. It's funny they make these jerseys like I guess the whatever pro fit. So I'm happy wearing a 3X and like my man boobs are sticking out if I'm on the field. But if I'm in the pub, I want something that's a little loose, like Americans like loose clothing. Like I don't need to wear it like like KT's wearing it. But
kind of like
I was gonna say, when I picked up the jersey, the Memorial Day jersey last year that I got, I put it on after like I got it and I'm like, let me just see what it would fit like. It was Connor McManus's. I'm like, it's a 9. I'm a 9. Like let's see how this goes. I'm like, oh God, this is fucking tight. Like nope. I'm just like tight on me. Nah, I'm good. I'm just gonna try and take this off. It's gonna hang up there. I'm never gonna wear it. It doesn't fit.
Yeah, they are tight. They are tight. Especially when they're 2 sizes too small.
Oh God.
Oh God! So I was gonna say I had a question of mine. Oh yes, we talked about the Rugby New York jerseys. You said you've seen a few games that Rugby the New Yorkers played. Of those games that you've seen in the opposition jerseys, which is your favorite so far?
Oh, that's a tough one. Actually, it's not tough. I like the Nola Gold jerseys.
The quarters look cool.
Yeah, I think they're really slick.
And at home they wear the black quarters, which I like even more.
Oh, I haven't seen
black.
That.
Yeah, it's black and gold in the quarters. I thought that was a great jersey. And last year's Mardi Gras, they had the Mardi Gras jersey, which I bought because it was just cool with the purple and the green. I mean, it fits perfectly. Yeah, Nola's has been hitting home runs with their jerseys. I gotta be quite honest.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, that's probably my favorite one. But the LA Giltinis, I think, have a nice kit as well.
Those Miami Vice blue and pink colors, man, you can't beat that. No, they're all whites are good. They're all blacks are cool. Like I like that.
Yeah,
the all whites really look good. I gotta be quite honest. And you fit those with a nice all white cleat, but you'd have to buy new cleats every friggin' match because it's all white. Guys,
well, I don't know. You play on turf over here, so you never get the mud and stuff that I'm used to back in England.
That's true. That's true.
I was gonna say, how is it? I was going to say, how has that transition been going from, grass to playing on now? It seems like every other game you guys are playing on turf.
Yeah, I mean, grass is a very generous statement to what we played on in England. It was mostly mud. But, yeah, that didn't suit me. Didn't suit the way I play. Didn't suit the way I want to play. So to come over here and play on turf, a bit more, firm surface, I love it. It could be a little bit more forgiving when you hit the ground, but that's just part of it. You can't have it all, I guess.
Yeah.
And some weird bounces, and you're gonna come up one day and your whole face is gonna be covered in tire.
Yeah, I see all
Yeah.
the boys walking around with no skin on their elbows and knees, and
raspberries on your legs and your butt from sliding.
It's funny.
And,
this is what me and Mike grew up playing, whether it was football, lacrosse, soccer, rugby. This is what we have in New York because the weather is brutal. And if you played football in the fall, and then you played something around March, all of a sudden the field was gone by May, and you're like, oh, we can't even finish the rest of the season. Yeah. So I want to say probably around the 2000s they started transitioning to these grassy turf fields.
Yeah.
And one thing, it's been good because now you can play on them all year round, but you do have to get used to kind of falling on them and things like that. And I think for me and Mike growing up on it, it's one thing because we're used to it, and then everybbe that comes over is like, how do you guys friggin' play on this stuff?
It still sucks. It still sucks because I played a tournament 3 weeks ago, and I'm like, oh man, like the day after, I'm like, I can't walk, I can't move, and it took like a good 3 days for my body to be like, oof, like all right, we're back.
I don't think it wasn't anything to do with the turf, Mike. You're just
I'd like to think it's not because of me being old and mostly getting hit in the turf, because like you said, the turf, it's just unforgiving.
First of all, you have to realize two things. Mike has a mouth like Andy Ellis, and in the MLR they don't do they're not going to say anything to Andy, but they will hit Mike after he gets rid of the ball. Secondly, Mike doesn't like to pass the ball, so he gets hit a lot.
Oh, I do pass the ball now. Okay. Now I pass.
Now
you gotta be smart about it as you get older.
Yeah.
All right. So real quick, we're gonna come up to the last question. The last question I want to ask you is, what do you think? What do you think your future is with the twofold? Let's start with this twofold.
Okay.
What do you think the future is of the club this season, and then what do you think your future is with this club going forward?
The future of the club this season, man, I think based on the last 4 or 5 games that I've watched from the UK, we've shown massive potential, in the first 40, 50 minutes, and then kind of slipped off a little bit. And then on the weekend, we were in that similar position, but we managed to really fight back and put them away, which gives me a massive amount of confidence. And if we can do that, the season, I think there's no reason why we can't go all the way. And then not to mention, we still have 2 World Cup winning All Blacks to join our side. So I think, the sky's the limit this season. I think there's no reason why we can't go all the way. And there's a good feeling in the team, and everyone's full of confidence. So, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt before you answer the second part, but I'm glad that you said that, because, us as fans, we've seen it happen where all of a sudden the foot comes and slips off the gas, mid-match, and then, we're struggling to find that fire and get it back on. And for you to say, hey, I noticed it, and I noticed the way we changed it around this particular match, and we kind of stopped and put our foot back on the gas and set it right. That means that the rest of the team knows that, and they know what they need to do to fix it. So that's very, very good thing to see. Sorry about that. I just wanted to...
No, that's right. Yeah, everyone's aware of it. Coaches have been working towards fixing that as well as the senior players. Andy Ellis has had a big part in doing that as well. And part 2 of that question, my long-term future with the club. At this stage, I'm only here till the end of this season, but I'm hoping to extend to next year and hopefully beyond. I've been around the world playing rugby, and now I've found a place that I really want to stick around for a while. So
nice.
I hope I can be a part of it, and not only the rugby side of things. I'd like to get involved in other stuff, around the city or the state.
Absolutely.
Maybe coaching or just getting involved in the lifestyle here. So,
in New York we have Xavier Rugby, which perennial, going to the championship. Pelham Rugby, same thing. Rye Rugby has come around.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of D3 to D1 clubs, and especially our D3 and D2 clubs. I'm sure they would be beneficial to have a guy with your experience as far as coaching. I know Kara does some coaching. I just saw somebody else. Oh, I can't remember who it was. It was just on social media posting. He's coaching.
Sam.
Yeah, Sam's out there. That's who it was. It was Sam. out there with the Lions as well. So it's great to see, the guys getting into the community and helping out the clubs and just giving them a little bit of, the professional touch, down at the lower levels.
Yeah, absolutely. Is one thing over here is you've got all the athletes in the world, and you've got great sporting leagues, professional leagues. You got the NFL and the NBA, the MLB, all those kind of sports, and it's such a tough bracket to get into in that top level. And then what happens to everyone who's got a lot of potential but doesn't quite make it early on. So I think rugby could be a good pathway for players or at high school that don't quite make where they want to be and transition over to rugby.
Absolutely. And we see that, Glenn, you're speaking of the Raptors, that's kind of the model Glendale has been doing, is trying to get those transition athletes and break them into the Eagles squads. And it's so far it's been working. I mean, Caleb Geiger on your team.
Yeah.
3 years ago wasn't playing rugby.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. And now he's a beast.
Oh my God, he's another guy. I mean, he just lays the lumber on hits. It's crazy. You just see that bleach blonde hair just go back and control the guy. It's great. Yeah. But real quick, me and Mike have to make our predictions. So we have a tough Seattle team coming up. Listen, Seattle plays us hard. We play Seattle hard. The matches are rarely blowouts, Mikey. Yeah. So what do you, Mike? What's your score prediction?
I am going Rugby New York by 7.
Ooh, converted try. You're doing. You
get
dangerous when you get around 7 points. You get dangerous with your.
See, that's the thing. I've learned if I go into double digits, that's where I start going awry. So I keep it single digits. I hope it's a bigger win. I think we struggled last season away at Seattle, but we pulled off a nice win
at the end. At the death.
At the death. I think that this team right now is we've got the power to go the distance, and it all depends, as Antonio was saying, is if we decide not to let off the gas. It's got to be all gas, no break. If we do that, we could definitely power through the strong Seattle team. So I'm gonna go Rugby New York by 7.
Our buddy Jason Zimmerman, the #1 Rooney fan, is going Rooney by 6. I'm going to go unconverted try. Only reason I'm saying that is right now, Reichert Hadding is a beast. So this is unconverted try, and I want to see Antonio Reichert Hadding, one of them running, one of them in the open field, and just see what happens. I'm sure that there's going to be a massive hit. It's going to cause an earthquake on the other side of the field, other side of the world. But I think here, Seattle's a great team. They're pushing for that playoff spot, and they need to get wins to solidify that spot. So they're going to keep their foot on the gas, definitely. Again, we reserve the right to change those at our pre-match show, depending on how the rosters come out. So just remember that. But you can also check out our Super Brew picks. We're in the Rugby Rant Super Brew contest. There's also a Rooney Super Brew contest and several thousand others. You should join them all. See where you rank. But anyway, the guys, Antonio, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate you taking your time. And
thank you for having me.
I'm sure, again, you've only been here for a couple weeks, so everything's a little new. You're trying to figure everything out and fine tune your day here. So again, thank you so much for coming on. I'm the big guy, Scott Farrar. That's Mike the Grand Poobah Parazzini. And we'll see you guys a half an hour before the Seattle match this weekend. Catch you later.
Thank you, guys.